Moo and welcome to the Pinktron. I am joined today by Steph Etienne. Steph, what are you drinking?
As usual, the trusty Fanta Lemon, my go-to drink.
We also have John Keenan. John, what are you drinking?
I have a Best Day Brewing Natural Pills non-alcoholic beer.
Nice.
Nice little refreshing summery beer for post-race one.
Absolutely. I am Craig Martin. I have my old Moosehead lager, and when I finish that, which is shortly because I've been pre-drinking, I have a Sober Carpenter IPA, zero alcohol, because I will be
Nice.
riding later. So we have heard Summer Racing League for this weekend. It is Chain Chomper, 2 laps, and yeah, fastest time through segment points, all the segments, the double climb, and the countryside sprint. It's a nice roundabout course and or all rounder course. John, you raced this, right?
I did. I was not looking forward to it before the race for some reason. I just felt like two climbs back to back and then doing them again on a second lap was going to be difficult, but I ended up enjoying the race a lot. I think we didn't really get broken up until that first climb, which is certainly very draftable. But there's a few people that were just pushing it hard and managed to stretch everything out, and then basically things started snapping shortly after the top of the first climb, and we were all in our respective groups. Um, and then at some point, the bees came through because there were a lot of them. For a lot of bees. They just kept coming through at one point, which I didn't think was terribly helpful on the second climb, on the that temple climb, because you're just not
No.
going fast enough to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. So if they came through kind of right at the start of the castle climb, that'd be real nice.
Yeah, that would
Or
have been great. That would have been
even
nice.
better if you
Yeah.
saw them coming, dropped off the back to catch onto them, and then caught up during the climb
Hmm.
would be the
Yeah.
optimum there. But yeah, that's
Yeah. I was
there's some
hoping for
nut.
some near the top. I could, catch the downhill, but that didn't happen either. So, um, but it was a good, I think I'm learning more about this particular race in that, you get sorted. This is a good example of a race where you end up getting sorted into your group relatively quickly within the first 10 minutes or so. And then basically it's the game of, okay, I need to out sprint or out climb these sort of four or five people. Like I'm not going to be the fastest climber on this segment. I just need to beat sort of these four or five people to get to the top of my sort of semi category within my category, which I think I did fairly well. It looks like, I mean, I had one, two, there's three folks I had in my sort of grouping that looks like I got more points than them. And then I think there was another somebody who wasn't on Swift Power who was a little bit faster than me on both of the climbs. And they were a good 10, well, I don't know how far ahead of me they were, 30 seconds ahead of me by the time we finished. So,
Yeah. Well, that can open up quick for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Well, and that's
yeah. They're
where
real.
really the time doesn't matter as long as you're not passed by anybody else.
Yeah, the after the second climb, I had one other person with me, and I think I was a good 20 seconds behind somebody and a minute in front of the next group. So I was like, well, okay, I just have to beat one person. And it was a recovery ride to the end, and then we
Yeah.
both sprinted and yeah, so that was a fine little semi race.
Yeah. So you,
But
yeah, it looks like you hopped one spot based on points.
oh, nice.
Looking at the results, so
Okay.
you were sixth.
Yes.
Chris Greenland of this district got the gold. Greg Alexander of the herd in third, and there's a Kelly Wegging from ATP got the second. So I don't know if anybody's tracking the team standings, but it looks like ATP is up on the herd by 2 points in
Oh
C.
my.
So it's pretty close. So I'll try to get some points here again this week. But that's a good start.
Yeah. Good race. I missed last week, so I was happy to get some racing in.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved last week. That was so I don't know if anybody caught I streamed it.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
But at the end of so the bees started just in front of us in the
Uh,
Oh,
so
were you able to
so
catch?
yeah, so me and two other guys went off the front of the C group, caught the bees, and
Nice.
me and one other guy stayed away until the A group came through the bees. So that was 10 laps in for us, 9 for the bees.
Oh my.
And so yeah, I kind of got shelled out after that, but I was consistently getting seconds and thirds on the sprint as well as being with the bees. So
Nice.
yeah, it
Well
worked out.
played.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good. I kind of, you look at, okay, 3 minutes, that's pretty close to what the first lap's going to be because the first lap is slower.
Hmm.
So yeah, it worked out real nice. I actually figured we'd be just past and the bees would just hit us, and it would be who could hang on to the bees the longest. But
Right. Right.
we ended up a little bit slower first lap than I figured we would.
Nice.
So anyway, last week was fun.
Yeah.
Ah, now moving on. Herd beginner racing. We have, and oh, I lost it. Outer Scotland. Now it looks like um okay. A, B, and C 3 laps, and D and E are 2 laps. So that's yeah, so if your racing score is 225 or less, it's 2 laps of Outer Scotland and 3 laps if you're 225 to 425.
This will be one of those races that really depends on how hard people want to hit it, because Scotland can hurt.
It can.
Like
It's
there,
kind of yeah, it is, and how hard people want to hit the hard points.
yeah, the corkscrew and the bray and the yeah, all of those little
Yeah.
punches. Are people going to really hit them hard, or are they just going to look around at each other?
Well, and there's forget that. There's a Clyde kicker in there, isn't there?
Yep, Clyde kicker
yeah,
and just all the rolly stuff. You don't go up the Skur, but
No, no. So
it's a good course for if you really need to pay attention constantly because there are so many points where if you lose even focus for a couple of seconds, you can be off the back pretty quickly. And
yeah.
but yeah, for those upper 3 pens, 3 laps it's on the longer side, definitely. yeah, around
Yeah.
an hour or so, something like that.
Yeah, I'd say so. 2 watts per kilogram estimate is 23 minutes. Uh, so yeah, that's 45. That's lead in plus first. There's not really much lead in, but call it 45 minutes, 2 laps at 2 watts a kilogram. And yeah, that probably puts you right around an hour for 3 laps if you're in that. That probably matches up to that C category for HBR. So a little bit on the longer
Technically,
side on the longer
technically,
side for HBR, but this is a good race course. So
technically, I'm in that C pen, so normally should do better than that. But yeah,
yeah. Well, there's it. Yeah. So different people in the C pen are going to do different, right?
yeah.
Because that's uh, yeah.
Also, the
Sorry.
problem is I haven't done many races as a present, so I think my score is at a perpetual 56 for a
Yeah.
couple of weeks now.
So do HSRL and hammer those climbs, and because those are both roughly 5 minute climbs,
Yeah,
and that will probably up your ZRS just from the power.
yeah,
Mhm.
You've been doing a lot of training.
yeah.
If you hit a new, you could probably hit a new 5 minute power best, Steph.
I just did my all-time 1 hour power in a Ruby race this week
Nice.
to
There you go.
200 watts for an hour,
Excellent.
and and that was with down wheels. I think like the actual like normalized powers was probably above that.
No, good for you.
Yeah,
But
that's great.
I will see for this weekend because it looks like a good race. But should be getting my road bike finally back. Should be hopefully ready tomorrow. Can pick it up so I can finally, after about 3 weeks of staying inside, I can finally ride outside again. So happy to do that.
Good
But
stuff.
but who knows? Maybe I will catch somewhere, have some time for this one because I love climbing, so it should be up my alley.
Yeah. Good. Shoot, what was the other? We were going to talk about another thing, weren't we? Another race or something?
Yeah, yeah. For reference, for the people, there are still the Climbers Gambits events in the club. Uh, they aren't really maintained at the moment, so you can ride them and you can try to do a PB on Volcano, but it's not counted. And Brand is still occupied with RL stuff to update it for Stampede Challenge.
Yeah.
And I think the next one we wanted to talk about was the introduction to racing organized by the Earth. I think
Yes.
Craig, you are
Yeah.
taking leading one of the slots.
Yeah. So this is so this same I don't know what we called it. Um, I think we originally called it the D advisory group with the old pace categories, but we've put together a few guys who are racing in the lower categories and beginners and people some people that were had been there for a while, and tried to put together some beginner and slower rider friendly races, which was the genesis of the modern HBR. And then so we tried a couple of years ago and did a few intro to racing meetups. So kind of talked around it a couple of times and decided that this go around we're doing group rides within the herd racing club. not within the herd club. So it's a little weird. So I think these might be the first group rides we've done in the herd racing club. But yeah, so the idea here, we're just gonna go out. We're gonna ride easy, and we kind of gave a 1 to 1.3 guideline, but that could get, or 1.3, 1.6, could get faster, could get slower, depending on who we have and what everybody says about that pace. Um, do some, this is how you draft. This is how you manipulate and control your draft with and without steering. This is how this is when people are going to go hard, because this is when it's going to make a difference and draft means less. Uh, this is how you sprint, and what sprinting is and why people are doing it and when they might do it. Race formats, you know, racing to the line to get there first, racing for time on segments, and all the many variants of points races, HSRL, uh, the HBR and HWR, and all of that. And, hopefully by then we'll be done. But yeah, a lot of, we hoping that people get on Discord and talk to us, and, ask any questions they have. So that's what we're looking at.
I love the idea of people being able to talk about it, and I mean the chat's great on Zwift, obviously, but I think the Discord really does add an element of, like, it's like a group ride, except it's even better, really, because I don't know, when I do big group rides, you can only talk with sort of one other person that's close to you, and with Discord, you can talk to everybody all the time. I think it's really tremendous resource. So I think that's going to be great. I wish I had heard about this when I started racing, because I think I would have learned things a little faster. But
You can still do it.
and still do it. Sure, I think it'll still be fun.
Yeah.
I see it's midweek, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah. So we're
If
doing them Wednesdays. Just
yeah,
it's a fairly open day now that we don't do bullseye anymore.
mm-hmm.
And
We got a variety of times.
yep. So I'm leading a ride at
9:30
7:30.
GMT.
Yeah, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Australian, which is really the target. So that is early morning East Coast, North America, and late morning UK, Europe, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's 9:30
yeah,
UK and 10:30 Central.
yeah. So there's that. So yeah, so I'm doing what's 5:30 a.m. my time, at 7:30 in that prime time. Um, who's leading? Nate is leading the one that is at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. UK, 7 p.m. Central European, I think.
No, later, 7 and 8
7 and 8.
p.m.
Okay. Sorry.
UK.
Yep.
Istanbul.
Yes, 7 and 8. And then at 8:30 p.m. My time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so that'll be
12:30
12:30
a.m.
in UK, 1:30 a.m. Central Europe. But I think it's a reasonable morning time. I think it's 7:30 a.m. in Australia. Anyway, that's and that one's being led by Paul, I think. Yeah, Paul Smith is going to lead that one, and I think Jeff's going to be in there too. So
That's a good West Coast time too.
yeah, it's not bad West Coast. It's a little early West Coast. I mean,
A
that's
little early. Yeah.
4:30. But
Don't know
trying
if I'll
to
make.
yeah, trying to get both one for Americas for now, and not don't know
Mhm.
how many people are really interested in this, so get just a couple time slots first that are not really overlapping.
Yeah, now that everything's in, not all rides are visible in the companion app unless you're over that, whatever the magic number is.
So I
Marketing's got to be tricky, right?
Well, so these ones I think are. So these are new rides. I believe they're on the public calendar. It's hard to tell because
Oh,
I'm in the club.
yeah.
And I think we all are. So I think the understanding was these guys are, or these ones are on the calendar, but I'm not sure.
That would help, right? Because if you
Yeah.
can see it on a calendar, people will, wow, what is it? Half the
Uh,
people sign up within 20 minutes, or I forget what the
Oh,
statistic
yeah.
is.
So it's more
no,
than that. It's more than half sign up in the last couple minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
from what I've seen from our race organizer, it's shareable public, not but not listed. So that's the same as the climber, the art
Okay.
challenges. So they're not on the
Yeah.
they're public, but not on the public calendar.
Public, but not on the list. Okay.
Yeah,
So we're doing quite a bit of heavy promotion on it.
Yeah.
James has actually helped us. So the James was an admin, but the other admins did not want any racing content whatsoever, including this, in the Zwift beginners group.
Hmm.
They also don't allow any posting of anybody's time for climbing the Alp. So they've got some interesting ideas, but
Okay.
that's their group. That's what they can do. But
Yep.
a new group was set up for Zwift beginner racing, not specifically for herd beginner racing, but
Sure.
any beginner racing.
Okay.
So, but we're hoping that we can get a bit of crossplay with some other beginner type events and get some people in.
yeah. With that, it's from also from our Earth racing team. It's I think James is an admin, Nate is an admin, but also people from I think somebody from Dirt, so some other clubs indeed. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
right now I think it's mostly just us in there. Uh,
yeah,
Basically, I don't think we've really attracted many other people. There's a couple actually when I look, but yeah, it's mainly herd people and James right now. So
I think
anyway,
it's an exciting prospect. I think, yeah, I would encourage anybody. Well, I don't know. People listening to this probably already do a little bit of racing, but tell your
yeah.
friends, tell your roommates.
Yeah, and it really is, you don't need to be super fast. And really we specifically created herd beginner racing to you don't have to be super fast. Just to
Hmm.
lower
Hmm.
that bar where you can actually participate in a race down a little bit. And yeah, I guess the other thing, and this is the other thing that I'm definitely going to mention in these rides, or the one I'm leading for sure, and so are the other guys. Team time trial is an excellent spot to, you know,
Yeah.
early in your racing career because it's where you can, you say, Discord, you talk to people, you ask questions, you learn things just by hearing what other people say, and
Hmm.
you learn how to draft, which is, a very large percentage of learning how to race on Zwift.
Yeah. And how not to push your teammates out of the draft. I think that's the thing I'm still learning.
Well, I
and
mean, you're in an everybody in your own race. You're trying to push people out of the draft. You want
Yeah.
yours.
Oh, right, right. But on a team time trial,
Yeah.
You don't want to yo-yo up and back. You don't want to push your teammates out of the draft. There's sort of things that will make your whole team faster that you learn.
Don't fight for second wheel.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
also,
Exactly.
and I learned also so now with steering and having a team with a mix of non-steering and steering can be, as a steering person, you sometimes steer to move yourself better in the draft, but learn from people commenting on one of the teams that it can be detrimental to the non-steering people. It can cause some issues, but yeah.
It can, yeah. I find I'm mostly using steering to pull out of the way so that the team
Uh,
can pass me after a pull
Hmm.
yeah,
and to move in front of whoever's following me, especially if they don't
yeah,
have steering. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's really, we're trying to, yeah, ease that transition for new and early Zwift racers. Really, it's probably exactly the wrong time of year to be trying this, but
Good point. Good point.
anyway, we'll try it. We'll get it. We'll see if we can get our script down, and we'll kick it off again in the fall
yeah.
if there isn't much uptake.
Yeah,
You get
it's
all
maybe
those
not bad.
south, the southern hemisphere folks who are going
Well, and
into
that's
winter.
that's why I'm doing the
The
1930
Aussie time.
East Australian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may maybe indeed not the best time for our northern hemisphere that's going more outside, but it's a good test case to work it out. So when we go back in the fall September, October part time, you have done it already. So yeah,
Yeah. And if we can get even, two or three riders per time slot, I think we might try again next month and try and do one per month kind of thing and go from there. I don't think unless there's a lot more uptake than I expect that every week is that there's really the demand for it. So
Hmm.
excuse me. Anyway, there we are. So moving on to the news. We have what do we have? What do we have? We've got a couple new bikes in this latest update
mini
stuff,
patch.
or yeah, mini patch. So we've got a new Giant TCR Advanced SL 2025 frame and the Liv Langma Advanced SL 2025. Um, yeah, neither of them look super exciting for anybody that's looking at it from purely, performance at a given level. What's available? I think the Liv Langma's at level 8 is probably one of the better ones at that level, but I don't think either of them, immediately go on that Zwift Insider must buy list. It's yeah, yeah. Uh, Interesting if that's the bike you ride in real life. Might be interesting to get it, but I don't think they're either of them are game changers as far as what bikes people are going to be using.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
nothing. Yeah,
just
nothing much.
yeah. So another a shout out to the herd event that's on the May 10th, 11th notable Zwift events. The herd Thundering Turtles ride is on there. So
Oh,
good for that. So
yeah.
that's 1 to 1.3 And I think they usually have a longer ride. What's the wasted 8 this time? So, and 90
Yeah.
minutes. So, yep.
Yeah, and usually I think that's also Paul Smith, I think, if I recall correctly, that's usually leading that.
Yes,
Uh,
it says Paul is the leader.
yeah.
We'll
So it
be
used
doing
to
1 to
be,
1.3.
yeah. So that was Elizabeth's generally, but it's Paul right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and in that update, in that mini update, there was some, I thought, an issue fixed with Scotty the Squirrel. Was thinking about our uh, interdimensional squirrel in Holo Replay that got fixed, but apparently was some other issue with rendering it in the street flare in the garage. So Scotty the Squirrel, the interdimensional squirrel is still being fixed. So we still have our Cthulhu somewhere.
Yeah. I was just trying to check. Yeah, that's Paul Smith leading that. So
Yeah,
I thought so, but it
yeah, I
wasn't.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of them, so that's why I remember it.
Yeah. Same Paul Smith who's leading one of the intro to racing rides, and Paul
Yeah,
has done is he's done many, many, many TTTs and does
mm.
the herd stats for all the herd teams every week. So
Yeah, yeah,
Paul's done
indeed.
lots of great work in
The
the herd
the
racing
merit,
years.
the merit post, yeah, yeah. Other than that, from news, Zwift has announced that there will be a Zwift route of the month, where of the week, where if you do that route, you can get 500 XP for that, and there will also will be XP Express events for bonus XP. So basically, you get double XP, like for 40 XP per kilometer instead of the 20. So basically, what you have with, I think, some of the Tour de Zwift, Tour Rotopia, where you have those. So for people getting extra XP if you wanted to.
Yep. Interesting. So that's that. I guess anybody have any other news? If not, I think it's time to move on to Around the Horn. So the whole Zwift leveling up of equipment um, thing, whatever, what do we call that? Upgrading, yeah, the upgrades, equipment upgrade, bike upgrades.
Frame
Um,
upgrades, right?
yeah, so we talked about this when it was announced, but we didn't have any details. And I don't think we've really talked about it since. We're well into, you know, whether we're trying to do anything or not, or whether we're just kind of riding what we ride and seeing what happens. But yeah, I think that's probably something to talk about here. Steph, I know you've not been on Zwift quite as much lately as you had been, so, but what have
Yeah,
you been up to?
yeah, yeah. A couple of weeks, a month, I think about a month ago. I think was also due because some people saw some heard people testing out that switched over to Ruby and decided to test it out myself. And think for me, it's personally, it's I like it as a bit of a mix with Swift. I'm still on Swift, but I'm I'm uh, I'm splitting my time between the two platforms. So for me, the upgrading has been going a bit slower than usual. But yeah, I think for me, I've bought as a lot of people do, the new hype, uh, the big racing machine, or the thing as the S-Works Tarmac SL8, like a lot of people do with. In the past, it was Pinarello Dogma, Tron, whatever, and upgrading that. Been riding on mostly that, and think leveled it up to level 2, getting up to level 3, and I think also did a bit of upgrading on the ATOS for my climbing. Did some when I do mostly climbing routes, or did like that herd mountain goats basically on Van 10 as a zone 2, zone 3 ride, and just rode up that. And yeah, that's a couple of slowly getting that the elevation up. Yeah, like I said, also spending more time on roof VSOs, yeah, which is also, which I found also fun, like the variation of both platforms. So
Okay. John, what are you up to as far as upgrades? Are you thinking about it or just riding?
It's in the back of my mind. I think the one thing I learned, I think from a talk we had maybe a week or 2 or 3 ago, was when we go into the herd summer racing league, you get credit for whatever miles or meters or kilometers climbing or distance, whatever you're trying to upgrade, based on the bike that you sort of chose, but then got kicked to the standardized bike of the Aero 2024, I think it is, for the HSRL.
It is.
Yeah, so I've been sort of thinking about that, like, oh, should I get on a time trial bike and then get in? But then you got your time trial wheels, and I don't know how that works. So, yeah, I've been mostly, I feel like this is a long game. This is a really long investment, sort of akin to the factory tour challenge piece, where like this is going to take a long time to upgrade these bikes, and then you've got to upgrade 3 bikes from a manufacturer, and then you get the crazy bike, and then you can upgrade your crazy bike, and
Yeah.
so
There's a
I'm
lot
sort
of
of
play. There's a lot of playtime here. Yeah.
a lot of playtime. So I'm just sort of trying to limit my scope and trying to ride the Canyon Arrow, the new 2024, which I've been riding a lot anyway. And then yeah, I got the specialized S-Work Tarmac SL8. And so I guess I'm sort of splitting my time between those two, but then yeah, I like to do climbing things too. So yeah, it's a little all over the map. Um, but I think it's one of those where it's just, it gives you a little something more to think about. Like, oh, if I'm just going to do a group ride and it's a really hilly group ride, well, yeah, maybe I'll take a climbing bike. And then that way that'll, you know,
Yeah.
charge up some of the climbing bike categories. I haven't done any workouts lately, but I am tempted by some of the things Zwift is spinning out. So like that's another way to sort of
Yeah.
get some of those miles, kilometers, or meters climbed, whatever the metric is. But like Steph, I too am distracted by other things. I'm trying to ride a little more outside. Well, I am riding more outside, so that's, you know, that's time, and time is the limitation most of my days. So
Like most of us.
yeah.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
same for me. I said splitting at the roofie, but I had my road bike for maintenance this week, but and it's also before that a couple of weeks couldn't use it because my chain worn out. So getting that back, so now it's getting longer, getting dark at like 9 p.m. So time after work to ride the bike. If it's good weather, we'll split that again. Yeah, and like you said, I think it's more for people that Zwift or on a moderate or yeah, I wouldn't call it casual, but a normal way. It's indeed the long game. There are people doing crazy stuff, but yeah,
Yeah.
they can do whatever they want. But yeah,
So I guess what I was doing, and this is where, kind of look at what they've set out for rules and uh, see what you can do. I've already got the Tron bike on the new testing when they rejigged all the performance. The Tron bike is really fast. So a lot of races, it's going to be the best. So then I got looking, and all the Zwift bikes are entry level, so faster to upgrade.
yeah,
So, and I was going to ride the BMX bike a bunch anyway. So I upgraded the Zwift Steel, the BMX, and the Zwift TT, and going to work on so this all to work on the Tron, and then I'll work on the Athos, and
yeah.
then got the fast bike and the climbing bike.
Wait, Craig, you have all five of the levels on those basic bikes?
Yeah.
Wow, that was fast.
Well, that was a lot of riding. I've actually
That was
done
a lot of
a
riding.
lot of riding the past few weeks. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so
Yeah, but
I had wanted
yeah,
to as well, but it is like a lot less time. There's
yeah,
a lot fewer kilometers to do those than you do to do the higher level bikes.
Oh, that's right. The basic entry level bikes are less
Yeah.
time to get the upgrade. I forgot
Yeah,
about
so
that.
the entry level stage one is 100 kilometers, high end it's 200.
Okay.
So yeah, it's half as much.
Yeah.
So 800 kilometers for one of those entry levels as opposed to 1600 for the high end.
I
So
also
that,
feel like you want to get those first two, right? Because it's
yeah.
faster and then more climby. And I guess I don't see a lot of utility in the rest of the upgrades other than having a fully upgraded bike that allows you to do the all the
Well, and
family upgrades and
that's pretty much that was the point. It was you ride it to be able to start upgrading the Tron when you're riding the Tron
right, right.
because I'm going to ride it a bunch anyway.
Sure.
So yeah, that was the idea. And then looking at the Halo, it is, to get that
yeah,
level one aero upgrade on the Tron, it's 550 kilometers.
yeah.
That's a long ways out. I
Yeah,
just hit the unlocking the upgrade on the Tron.
Okay.
yeah, the
So you're
yellow
going to
bars
start
are
chipping away
Yeah.
at the 550. Nice.
yeah, not only the kilometers, but also well, the amount of drops. But yeah, some people have tens of millions of drops, tens of
Yeah, but
a
I
lot
mean,
of
yeah,
drops.
it's only 400,000 for level 1, 800, 1,200, then 2,600 for stage 4. And then 5,000 or 5 or yeah, 20 sorry, 2.6 million for stage 4, 1.2 million stage 3, 5 million for stage 5.
Yeah,
So
That's not insignificant.
it
Yeah.
is not insignificant. But I mean, if you're riding that far, you're going to get a big chunk of those drops anyway.
Yes.
Almost all of them, actually, if you're riding and pedaling the whole time.
Yeah, that is one of the
yeah, and I think
disadvantages of doing the teleport to the top and coast down. You're not going to be getting drops when you're doing that.
Well, so yeah, and I guess yeah, just to briefly talk about the shenanigans, I have heard that people are being given bans for playing games with weight, as far as getting lighter to go uphill and heavier to go downhill. So
I mean,
that's
yeah,
yeah.
it seems like Zwift could limit, like, I mean, maybe there are 200 plus kilo folks on Zwift, but it seems like they could limit it at some point. Certainly
Yeah, so
nothing
there's a
over 999.
yeah. So anyway, yes, it does seem like, but I don't think that would make a big difference to what's going on there as far as the shenanigans. But
Yeah.
that's that. Yeah, so I guess yeah, my thought is have the best bike for any given thing. For most things, the best bike is the most aero for most races, and then the ones that it isn't, it's the lightest. So,
And then there's those weird TTTs you're on every once in a while.
oh
At
yeah,
least
I
for
know.
me, I don't do them too often. And then I think, oh, wait, I haven't upgraded the TT bike at all. So I need to work
Yeah.
on that too.
Well, yeah, I'll just let that happen. I'll ride the TT
Yeah.
bikes that are best for whatever I'm doing, and they'll get upgraded as they happen. That
Hmm.
yeah, I'm not that worried about that.
Yeah, and I think at the moment you see, like we discussed last week, that a lot of event organizers are at the moment limiting or disabling the upgrade system to give people a fair advantage, because yeah, it's I think it's good you want to upgrade it, but yeah, like like like
There's
we said, that there are some people that just go ham on it and just upgrade their bikes to level 5 within a week or 2 weeks, and
or
because
less.
they have the
Well, so the entry level bikes in a week, 800 kilometers, that's a lot, but just doable. But 1 per 2 weeks is probably doable. I will say I gamed the Zwift TT bike a little bit because that's time, not so that one's only a total of 20 hours. So I was just sitting on in zone one while watching hockey games.
well, at least you did not wanting to bring back the idea, but I think it's shut down anyways. You did it a legit way. But, people,
Yeah.
of course, people found saw something out and won't specify it, because I don't know. It's probably patched out, but don't want to give ideas. But people found a way to exploit that via events, and yeah.
Yeah, that was patched. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that. And that's where we are. So yes, and then I guess as far as it's yeah, duration for TT bikes, elevation for climbing bikes, and distance for normal road bikes is the metric that you're looking for. So. Well, anybody has anything else to talk about? I think we are done. So, thank you to John Keenan. Thank you, Steph Etienne. I'm Craig Martin. Have a good time with your herd racing. Come out to the herd racing intro to Zwift racing group rides or whatever it is we're calling them. I forget now. But come on out if you'd like to just practice a little bit, hang out, or want to help give some tips to some newer racers. So, in any case, moo and good night.